Newsom, very busy last week undermining the Second Amendment and the right to life. On Friday, he signed sweeping gun control measures to restrict gun sales and make it easier for the state to confiscate people's firearms. That's coming to a state near you if the Democrats win in November. And that same day, Newsom also signed a bill requiring public colleges to offer the abortion pill to students on campus. Joining me now, Dan Bongino, Fox News contributor, former Secret Service agent, and Ethan Bierman, liberal commentator, host of Left Coast News. All right, Dan, I always say if you want to see where the Democratic Party really is headed, where the country's headed under their leadership, look at AOC +3 or California. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not. I really feel bad for some of the good conservatives who live in California. You know, I gave a speech out there a while ago. It was packed. But they're really being screwed. It's become an incubator for stupidity. If you want a really dumb policy that has no basis in data or fact, just look at California and New York, and I'm sure they'll throw one at you. I mean, this gun control policy in California, what evidence do they have that any of this is actually going to work? And listen, I'm pro-life from conception to natural death, but I get there are other people who have differences of opinion. I think they're wrong. They probably think I'm wrong. But give me one good reason why I should fund the termination of life in the womb because you feel differently than I do. If I turned around and said to them, I think you should fund a gun program to put a gun in every home in America, liberals would laugh at me. But when you say something like that, they lose their minds. I mean, this is just crazy policies.
Ethan, thoughts on this?
Yeah, Dan's wrong, and it's this simple because the firearm injury and mortality rate is lower in the tight gun control states like California and New York, are dramatically lower than the loose gun law states. So yes, of course, California leads the way in saying D.C. versus Heller set it forth with Justice Scalia writing in Section 3 that the Second Amendment is clearly not an unlimited right and we can pass these laws. Furthermore, on the topic of the abortion pill, that's only good in the first 10 weeks. This is back to Roe v. Wade. The first trimester, the woman has the right to control her own body. Now, look, if you want to cut down on the abortions, Dan, support me in saying we need contraceptives to be more freely and readily available. Why don't you support that so we can say the reducing abortion rate is tied into that?
Ethan, do you have any concern about religious or conscience rights in the Democrat Party? We started off the show by talking about that, given Beto's comments and other Democrats' comments about colleges, universities, religious institutions. If they run afoul of, I guess, whatever the secular mindset of the moment is, they could lose their tax-exempt status. Do you agree with that?
So here's the deal. I'm a religious person myself. I belong to a congregation. My entire family is. But Beto didn't say if you believe something, you're going to lose your tax-exempt status. He said if you're going to operate in the public space of giving jobs and then you're going to discriminate, then you would lose.
So does the Catholic Church
respond to this? Because this is insanity.
So Dan, is the Catholic Church then, or an Orthodox church or a mosque, if they refuse to hire, I don't know, a transgender person, I'm just thinking of any group that's protected, transgender person, they will be sued, and they will not stop until they have to change their policies, violate their conscience or religious beliefs, or shut down. That's where this goes.
I love Ian's stroke of brilliance here. You're allowed to think religiously, but God forbid you practice it. Then you're really in trouble. And I love his other genius.
Why do you want to discriminate?
You know, I love how I didn't interrupt you now, did I? So please let me talk. Okay, thank you very much. I love how he skirts over the fact that cities that have strict gun laws, and he aggregates the data into states. Cities that have strict gun laws like Chicago, L.A., New York, and D.C. have become bloodbaths. He avoids that data completely. And then he says, oh, don't worry, this paying for taxpayer-funded abortions is no big deal because the infant's only 11 weeks old. So what's the complaint, guys? No big deal. He skirts over all of that completely and never actually gets to the question. That's a nice liberal trick. Nice job, Ian. They do that all the time. They do it quite well.
I saw one of the kids at one of the schools, I think it was the College Republicans, they had a speaking as a former embryo T-shirt, like ... I mean, obviously the religious institutions are not happy about this. But Ethan, do you think the Democrats are on a fine line, walking a fine line on this issue of the First Amendment, religious liberty, free expression, when it comes to these types of threats that we're hearing coming from some of the more prominent thought leaders of the Democrat Party? Yes or no?
Yes, I believe that religious liberty is very important in this country. And again, I corrected you on that Beto statement. I think there is a difference. But yes, there are things that are happening that always worry me, that the pendulum swings too far one way or the other. And we need to be careful of that. And we also have to respect people who choose not to follow religion, who choose to be atheists, who choose to be agnostics, and respect their rights as well.
No one's forcing them to go to our churches. They don't have to go to our churches. They can go to whatever they want to do or not go to church. We don't care. That's a true libertarian. We're not forcing our views on you. But the other way around, they're forcing their views on us. That's the problem.
The State Department just did today. It was on the front page of the State Department's website today. I so disagreed with that. It was how to be a Christian leader from Secretary Pompeo. That's not right either.
All right. Dan, Chris, great to have you both on tonight.